We good? Cool. Okay. Welcome along.
Thank you. Just by way of introduction, just in case you don't know Patrick. Patrick took over the Lyttelton Harbour Wastewater Scheme project partway through. So here to do a closeout report as requested by this committee.
Okay. Thank you very much. Thank you, Brent. Today's discussions regarding the Lyttelton Wastewater Harbour Scheme. It's an integral part of the Whakaora Healthy Harbour Plan. Previously, the treated wastewater from Governor's Bay, Diamond Harbour, Lyttelton treatment plants was discharged directly into the Harbour Basin itself. Now, following the completion of the scheme, the wastewater is sent directly to Pages Road and for treatment. What was involved? We installed over 10 kilometres of pipelines, conversion of 3 existing wastewater treatment plants into pump stations, built 1 brand new pump station, and installed quite a number of valves, pipes and chambers. Go to the next one, please. Looking at the map on the left, you can see the scale of the project. So starting from the very top of the page, you're starting at pump station 15 on Old Port Place. You've got below ground pipe work up to the tunnel and up to the tunnel control room where it goes above ground, and then through the tunnel itself to Simeon Quay just outside the tunnel entrance. From that, going to the right, you've got below ground pipe work to Cashin Quay at the Lyttelton Port. Going to the left, you've got below ground pipe work to roughly Naval Point, and then submarine pipe work across to Governor's Bay and Diamond Harbour. On the right, the photograph kind of gives you an extent of how much pipe work, and it's fully welded. Next one, please. Community outcomes. The project itself has a number of community outcomes. We've reduced the number of overflows into Lyttelton Harbour. We've created a healthy water environment in the Harbour Basin itself, with water quality standards improved in the harbour. Public health issues have been de-risked for bathers and those wishing to go fishing. We've increased prosperous economy, modern and robust infrastructure and facilities, modern pumping and conveyancing system that is robust, serviceable for many years. On the left is the history of the commercial side of it, the budget. I am not familiar anything before September 21, but I understand the first figure was a placeholder while the scheme was designed, and then through changes in the LTP and scheme development, we came to the figure. The September 21 increase to 60 million, I presented that one to Council back in September.
Just noting that that later period of time, you would have noticed this on many of the projects that went through cost escalation, supply chain issues. It was through that COVID period, that type of thing. So very similar situation.
Okay. So project timeline. Unfortunately, council logos just in where we are today. We are almost 3/4 of the way through the defects period. Defects ends in April next year. The project itself is split into 4 individual packages. We have 1 consultant team delivering the design and 2 contractors delivering the different packages. So work package 1 was done by McConnell Dowell through NZTA. Work package 2 was also McConnell Dowell on the submarine, and 3 and 4 were Fulton Hogan. So as part of the health and safety and design, we undertook HAZOP reviews throughout all the stages, and again, just splitting it down into the work packages. The work package 1 for the tunnel itself was delivered by NZTA Waka Katoa as part of the Tunnel Deluge project. So any health and safety issues and environmental were not reported to council. Work package 2, there were a number of incidents on site, and 3, similar to 3 and 4. Oh, I have to get my glasses on. Lesson learned. So what I've tried to do on here is actually be at quite a high level. Project management and governance is quite a common theme on a lot of our bigger capital projects. I've tried to change that on some of the more recent projects, such as the one which you will be familiar with, which is biogas, where I have a regular governance group. which meets on a monthly basis to discuss key issues. I'll take iwi partnership and community engagement together. We started off strong. We got good positive feedback, but towards the end, it did tail off. Certainly in my involvement towards the end, I probably didn't do as well as job as continued to other people previous to that. Contractor procurement, collaboration, cooperation. We allowed for strong collaboration with our contractors. Procurement strategy was aligned to actually come up with a simple way and not very complex way of delivering this project. Excellent, thank you. Operational reviews and commercial. So some of the challenges on the bigger projects is actually how we balance capex and opex on the projects. In the early stages of concept, there was a lot of emphasis on operating costs in detailed design, while the design life and long-term asset lives were considered. Less weight was given on how the plant will operate on an annual cost basis. So what I've tried to do in the biogas project is actually look at whole of life cost. So we're actually trying to reduce the operational cost at the benefit of capital. I think I got that right. Operational reviews, technical. Under the Health and Safety Work Act, we are legally obliged to make sure that we design our products that can be constructed safely, operated, maintained, and ultimately demolished. Again, as part of the biogas project, we heavily did that. We had dedicated workshops for each of those stages, and as a result, we actually found that the design became more robust and it supported point 1 of top of the page. Next one, regarding technical design reviews. Now, this is an interesting one in that we put a problem into the middle of the room, we put 5 engineers to solve it, and we'll end up with 5 different solutions. And how do we as council make sure that we, A, get the right solution, but B, don't turn the liability and we own the problem? So this is quite a challenge on that. On biogas, we looked at through curiosity rather than actual peer reviews, although we did do a technical review, but the questions were more around, why have you considered this? What's the reason behind that, rather than you're doing it wrong. Commercial management, a lot of the big projects that we do, certainly this one would benefit from a dedicated commercial management team, actually looking after all the dollars side of it. Sometimes it relies on the consultant, technical advisor, and also the project manager. But if you've got dedicated resources from the quantity surveying market, that would help quite significantly.
And a lot of the learnings from projects the size of this are already being woven into we've made some changes into the way we're looking at some of our more significant projects now, because as you say, some of the larger projects start off with all good intent, but some of the effort tails off as you start to focus on the more engineering aspects of it. And one of the major lessons learned in this was, we take the community and major stakeholders with us on these things, but we've got to make sure they're there for the whole journey. The impacts of this on the harbour, as we've heard from the zone committee and direct from Ngāti Wheki, major significant impacts on the health of the harbour already. So, but we do need to take into account some of the learnings on these major projects. So, questions?
Thank you for that. That's I've got a few, which is good. The first one is if we go back a slide. Is it okay? We just jump back. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Cool. No, to the lessons learned one. So the one that jumps out for me. No.
Next one.
Next one. Sorry. Yeah, that one there. Just around the operational reviews, to include the operations team as early as part of the design process to allow the operations team to review the design from an operational and maintenance perspective. Mm-hmm. The thing that, and I know, there's going to be a significant, as we work through the insurance out at the treatment plant, that has to be something that's got to be picked up within that. Because if we don't factor that in at the beginning, ultimately it'll be the insurance company that wears it if that's sorted. But we do need to sort of think about that.
Yeah, and we're doing that now with when we've come to speak to you about the compliance upgrades for protozoa, we're bringing the operations in early and keeping them in the tent to make sure that it's all very well producing these things, but when the project managers leave and they have to run the systems, we need to make sure that they're right. It's so much easier to make those small tweaks and changes that make it operationally efficient right at the start.
Definitely. Well, and we've got a good example just around from us at Avonhead with the roundabout that's just been put in. There's those little bits that you were talking about that... Anyway, I digress. The point of that is if you get you're right. If you get the operational team in who are using it or cleaning the streets with it and stuff earlier, you'll know. Okay, sorry, that's Aaron and then Tyrone. And then
so the budget went out by 500%, which is considerable. Why did it change so much? And if all of our planning blew out that much, the average rates in 5 years' time would be 10K.
Are you talking about starting at 12 million?
Yeah,
and then
start
going,
at 12 million, and which, when you divide that per household, bit over $3,000, it's turned out over $16,000 per household.
So initially, when some of these major projects go into the long-term plan, say out in year 9 and 10, there'll be a placeholder put in, and that's long before any scoping has been done and may carry on through into years 11, 12, 13. So it's quite common in some of the larger projects to get a placeholder in place and then start with, do the full scoping. So by 2015, when it moved up to $48 million, a lot of the full scope had been done. From that point onwards, a lot of inflation and supply chain issues and that sort of thing. But it is quite common to put those placeholder budgets in first.
Well, the 48 to 60 jump isn't such a bad one. It's the 12 to the 48 jump in 2 years, which is Joan's fault. Yeah, that's why you left. You thought would forget.
The learning is that it's too easy to be conservative when you're putting a budget which is rough order of costs and an LTP without doing a lot of scoping work. It's not, that table isn't comparing like with like. You notice it says here now includes full scope. So, and it's hard to go way back there. You're in the skirt days there, where all hell was happening round everywhere. So your comment is exactly right, but we should probably have that in the learnings, and it's for council too. It's too easy for you to think, oh, we'll take the lower one, without understanding that it's plus or minus. Well, this one's not 50%, it's a lot more than that. So, yeah, it was a bad steer in the first place, and we're not comparing like for like. And I think you were talking about the other thing is you talked about the operations side. In council, we call that the asset owner, and you have to have them in right at the beginning because they know that they're going to get it back at the end. So that layer should have picked it up probably then, which was probably me.
Yeah, I mean, if you go to build a house and you're going to spend your 12 million, well, it's just 12, whatever, and then it's suddenly your builder comes back a couple of years later and goes, well, I think it's going to be 48, not 12. You go, let's just buy a ready-made apartment. And that's what sometimes you need to go, we've got to just change the entire thing. And do we do that? And if not, why not?
Okay, good point.
It's just conversations for the future. This is done, and it's good to get these back because you can kind of look back and go, boy, that changed too much.
Okay, Yanni, and then Tyrone, then Pauline.
Yeah, thanks. Thank you for the report. I was particularly interested in two aspects of it. One was in Work Package 3, there were 6 environmental issues: discharge of concrete, diesel spillages, uncontrolled wastewater discharges. I was just wondering, can you give us a sense of how typical or not typical that would be for a project like this? And what are there any lessons we've learned around environmental management, recognising that for those of us who live in this area and represent this area along the river, we're constantly raising concern with how activity is allowed to occur without, good regular monitoring?
Oh, it was in the report, right? Sorry, I was looking at the wrong place. Frequency. Nobody goes out in the morning to actually look to do this. So frequency is more incidental and accidental than deliberate. We are constantly monitoring. The contractors own the site. We manage them. We monitor them. We do regular checks on them, and to actually keep that frequency down to absolute bare minimum.
And as well as that, in terms of the monitoring, we're working under reasonably strict consent, so there's monitoring by the regulatory authorities as well. So, but good points that you make, Councillor, is that, and we learn from all of this stuff. And I understand the area you're working in. It was working in the harbour and trying to improve the environment in the harbour. It was top of mind. But in a $60 million project, yes, there will be things that happen from time to time, and it's really about minimising the frequency, as Patrick said, and minimising or mitigating any effect on the environment.
Like just
I'm keen to move this along, so we can come back to you if we've got time. Tyrone?
Oh, thank you. Geez, what do I want to say? I think it's about... Oh, Aaron's not even in the room. It's about $300 per household, not $16,000, speaking of cost blowouts. But we've got a big wastewater project coming up in Akaroa Harbour, and sort of touching on what you said, Brent. I mean, the cost of that's kind of blown out a little bit sort of recently-ish. And is there anything from the lessons learned that we can really kind of nail down some of the costs there that we can sort of value engineer, as it were?
Absolutely, Councillor, because we're looking at that at the moment. So you're talking about the Akaroa and the devotional schemes, and we're looking at how more efficiently we can work those, and looking long term as well, because is it cheaper to run two treatment plants, or have a pump station and a treatment plant? What about sea level rise? All those sorts of things. And we've got the operators in talking to us as well, saying, well, this is what it costs to run this is the issue we have with the current treatment plants. So we're bringing the lessons in from this and going, let's plan this out and look at minimising future operational costs. So yes, that is happening.
Can I just have a quick follow up? Because obviously, like, the reason we've done this is to fulfil, I mean, a huge part of it, to fulfil our treaty obligations. And so what sort of conversations are we having with mana whenua in Akaroa, let's say, just around the delivery time frame of this? Because, is there a risk that the project could get...
I think Tyrone, that's a good question, but it's probably not in a closeout report on this one. So,
right.
but you could potentially, because I'm conscious of time.
No, that's fair enough, Mr.
So,
Chair.
but you guys can have a chat offline about that.
Just on that, we've had enormous public meetings at Onuku over that, so that was very well supported. And just going, if I can just address Aaron's point, referring to what Jake. We can't use.
Pauline, I'm chairing it.
Okay, we can't use
the
the
questions.
anyway.
You can use
My
debate.
question is, and you might not know the answer, is how many connections around the Whakaropo, new connections are there that are going through these lines?
I'd have to get back to you.
That are ending up in Bromley. I mean, do you know a percentage increase to our
No,
parties?
I'd have to find out for you.
Okay, but most of them, be fair to say, would be coming from Lyttelton itself, because that's the bigger area, isn't it? And so that ceased from August 2029. So is that an incremental?
I would have to get back to you on those details. I mean, there's a lot of growth in Diamond Harbour as well. I mean, this has enabled quite a bit of that. I mean,
But it says Diamond Harbour has ceased 2021, which is good
for
the discharges.
Oh, sorry, I misunderstood your question. I thought you were talking about additional connections to the
That
new
was my
system.
first question, which you answered. But I'm talking about now the effluent discharges. So they've ceased from Governor's Bay 2018, Diamond Harbour 2021, and Lyttelton by 2029.
I'll have to get back to you.
So
on
where
the detail.
I'm coming from here
2029
is
might
that
be-
we would assume that the water quality in the harbour will be gradually improving because of this.
That's correct.
And how often are we testing for that?
You can carry out regular testing. This sort of ties in with some of the testing they're doing for the
Consent.
water quality and the consent and the swimmability of the bays and that sort of stuff. So, in fact, we're meeting with them again on Friday to discuss results and continue to work on the program.
Yeah, well, let's hope. Thank you. Thank you,
Yanni.
Mr. Chair.
Just to follow up on that environmental one, is it possible just to get have a note or a resolution just to ask for some additional information around the lessons learned around the environmental incidents? Because I note in the table that we've got, there's a whole bunch of other stuff that's mentioned, but we don't have that around the environmental. So it'd be good to know a little bit more about what the actual environmental incidents were specifically and what lessons have been learned as a result.
So is everyone? So Pauline's here to move it. Are you happy to include that request for? I mean, is there anything further you can provide, or are we just creating work?
Can you provide detail?
Yeah. Speak now or forever hold your peace.
It will be quite challenging because I need to go back through all the records, project records to get to
right. No. Okay. So it's been moved and seconded without that. If you've got an amendment, Yanni, you can use that process. But okay. Do you want to Yeah.
Hey, look, this is an amazing project. It's looking like it's been about 10 years, starting in 2013, the original scope. And really, I mean, I think if you're looking at cost blowouts, Councillor Curran, you've got to look at the first full scope baseline, which was 48,000 million, and then it moved up to 60 million, which is a 20% increase in my records. So, but I just want to congratulate you, the staff, and for the delivery of this, and also for the really good work with Ngāti Wheki and the community on this. And I think it's a great outcome for everybody. And as you say, especially with the growth in Diamond Harbour, it's really important to get this in now. And it's a really good story for Whakaropo. So thank you.
Thank you.
Yanni.
Yeah, I mean, I have to say, I'm disappointed that people don't want to get the information around the environmental incidents. We've had 6 environmental incidents in one of the work packages. And, you know, it's great that we're learning lessons from these projects, but this is this project goes through a site of ecological significance along the Apāwaho Heathcote River, where we've had a number of concerning incidents happen around the environment. And I cannot understand why we wouldn't want to learn what's happened so that we can improve going forward, because as we've seen, you know, it just takes 1 or 2 incidents and you can do a lot of damage to the local ecology and biodiversity. So look, I totally appreciate that this was a complex project, but what stands out really concerning is that those environmental incidents and the lack of lessons learned from them. So, you know, we've got a guidance plan for the Apāwaho Heathcote River that talks about trying to improve what we do around that space. We've got a project that is giving better, healthy outcomes to Lyttelton, Whakarapo, Harbour, and the catchment, which is great. But we've still got to be mindful of, when we're giving these companies this contract to do the work, that there are environmental responsibilities that should be placed on them. And if we're not doing that to the best that we can, then we need to improve from it. So I'm happy to receive the report. I'll put questions through a separate process. I think we should be worried about the environmental incidences from one of these major contractors.
Aaron has debate and Phil has a debate/question. So
I just take a little bit of exception to the way the environmental incidents were raised. I have no doubt there is not one staff member in this entire organisation that doesn't take environmental incidents really, really seriously. We have a ton of rules, and anyone in the building industry will tell you there is a ton of rules. 99.9% of the contractors stick to them all the time. Accidents do happen, and people usually learn lessons from their accidents. Like if someone spills a can of gas or whatever the incident may have been, people then learn from it and learn along the way, and they're the ones that do the work. As far as I'm aware, there was no major environmental catastrophes, but the big environmental catastrophe that has been saved is all the sewage going into the harbours for ever and a day, and the people that live there have a right to collect mahinga kai out of that harbour, and will be able to more and more into the future because it is being cleaned up. And Pauline was right about the impacts of this. I don't love the change in scope along the way, but the work had to be done. And so, and it has been delivered and delivered well. So, so thank you to all involved.
Hi. Great job, guys. Very difficult job. Anytime you put pipes underwater and try and stop them floating, it's hard yakka in anyone's language. I don't. I was agree with Aaron. It's we might have had a few small environmental problems, but the benefit is well outclasses. You know, it's not as if bloody super tanker's come in and beached itself on Quail Island or anything stupid like that. But the thing that worries me is we've spent all this money, which is great, and ECAN are still finding human waste in the water when it rains. Now, are they testing it? I can't ask this question. It worries me that they're testing it out of all proportion. So we should look at that, because if we've spent $60 million to clean up the harbour, and the first time it rains, they put a sign up saying you can't swim here, well, waste 60 mil. So, and I know that's not the case, because we've done the best we can, and it's marvellous. But the result is we want to stop them slamming their signs and saying don't swim here, because that's the first thing that goes in the paper on New Year's Day. Oh, you can't swim at Cass Bay. In the back of my head, we've spent $60 million. Eh?
Cass is good this year.
Okay, Corsair. Anyway, I'll shut up.
Hey, you've still got a minute and a half, but Tyrone.
It gives me great delight to have to say thank you for your beautiful words, Councillor Kewen. They really were lovely. It's I'm really happy to receive this report. I note all the good things and the concerns raised. It's really important that we do this, and I know that we've got another massive wastewater scheme coming up in Akaroa, and so and it's not, we don't do that lightly. So I really thank the councillors from the past who have made the decisions to get us to this stage. I really am thankful. To note your comments, Mr. Mayor, absolutely, like it is concerning that we can't swim. Well, the tests come back in a bad way for some of the beaches around Whakaraupo. What I would say is that my mother would say, when I was a kid, we used to have turds floating around us at Corsair Bay. So I think we've made some improvements, which is good. So we're moving in the right direction by the sound of it. We do have some stormwater issues around some of our bays around Whakaraupo that are hurting the quality of the water, and someone's going to have to pay for that eventually, and I hope someone will step up and pay for the stormwater issues that we have. I hope the government's listening. Look, just really happy to receive this, and it's just a great step forward in terms of our treaty partnership obligations and for our communities around Whakaraupo. Thanks.
Great. So we'll put that. The only thing I'd say is that these reports are really useful, but they're only useful if we as an organisation build on them. So if we take the lessons learned and apply them to new jobs, because we don't want a repeat and a repeat and a repeat. So it'll be good when we get the next ones, like Tyrone's talked about, just feeding through the actions we've put in place to mitigate that stuff. But I know you will, so that's great. Okay, that's been moved in second. Oh, and the only other thing is, I get where Yanni's coming from, but the last thing we want to do at this, not only at this time of year, but with the pressure across the whole organisation, is to have people literally going back through file after file after file when we've heard from a range of councillors about the significant environmental benefit that this scheme has put in place. So I'm sure there are questions that Yanni will send through, but I just caution, I guess, the responses in terms of, don't, for God's sake, go and spend days digging through files for something when this has had a significant environmental impact.